Imagine you're a barbarian chief, leading your warriors deep into Roman territory. The air is thick with the promise of plunder. You see a small, seemingly undefended village, ripe for the picking. Your men are eager, their weapons ready. It looks like an easy raid, another tale of glory to tell back home. But what you don't know is that you've just walked into one of Rome's most lethal traps. This isn't just a village, it's the bait. And you, the fearsome predator, are about to become the prey. Today, we're diving into the brutal, brilliant world of Roman military tactics, specifically their masterful use of ambushes. We'll uncover how a seemingly simple barbarian raid was turned into a masterclass of deception, coordination, and overwhelming force. This isn't just a story about a single battle. It is a testament to the strategic genius that allowed Rome to build and maintain an empire that stretched across the known world. Forget what you think you know about straightforward legionary warfare. This is the story of how Rome played chess while its enemies were still learning checkers. So let's set the stage. Picture the vast, untamed frontiers of the Roman Empire, perhaps along the Rhine or Danube rivers. These were dangerous lands, a constant source of friction. For the Germanic or Gallic tribes living just beyond the border, raiding Roman settlements wasn't just an act of war. It was a way of life. It was how a young warrior proved his worth, how a chieftain gained prestige, and how a tribe acquired wealth, gold, grain, cattle, and slaves. These raids were typically fast, brutal, and aimed at soft targets: farms, small villages, and poorly guarded supply lines. The goal was to get in, take what you could, and get out before the legions could respond. And for a long time, this was a successful strategy. The barbarians were masters of their own terrain, using their knowledge of the forests and swamps to their advantage. They were fast, unpredictable, and they hit hard. They learned to see the Romans as powerful, but slow, predictable, arrogant, and it was this perception that the Romans would cleverly exploit. Our story begins with a chieftain. Let's call him Brennus, a composite of many historical figures. He's ambitious, he's proven himself in smaller skirmishes, and now he's hungry for a major victory. Scouts report back with thrilling news. A prosperous-looking settlement, just a few days' march into Roman territory, with minimal defenses. Perhaps a small wooden palisade, a few local militia, nothing a determined warband of several hundred warriors can't handle. To Brennus and his men, it screams easy money. The risk seems low, the reward high. They gather their forces, sharpening their axes and spears, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They believe they are the hunters, moving silently through the woods, ready to pounce on unsuspecting prey. But what Brennus doesn't see are the eyes watching him from the shadows. Long before his warriors even crossed the border, Roman intelligence was at work. Roman frontiers weren't just lines on a map. They were complex networks. A system of watchtowers, manned by auxiliaries recruited from local tribes, kept a constant vigil. These men knew the land, they knew the people, and they could spot the signs of a gathering warband from miles away. A sudden increase in activity in a certain village, warriors sharpening weapons instead of tending fields, unusual numbers of men moving towards the border, all of these were red flags. The information would travel at incredible speed, relayed from tower to tower, using a system of smoke signals by day and fire signals by night. A message could travel dozens of miles in a matter of hours, far faster than a warband could march. So, while Brennus thought he was moving in secret, the local Roman commander, a seasoned centurion, or perhaps a legatus, was already receiving detailed reports. He knew the size of the raiding party, their likely direction of travel, and their probable target. And instead of marching out to meet them head-on, he decided to set a trap. The undefended village was not an oversight. It was carefully chosen bait. The Romans would intentionally make it look vulnerable. They might even withdraw the visible garrison, leaving only a token force to create the illusion of weakness. They were banking on the raiders' overconfidence, their greed, and their underestimation of Roman cunning. The Roman commander now begins to lay out his plan with meticulous precision. Roman military manuals, like Vegetus's De Re Militari, are filled with instructions on how to set up the perfect ambush. The first step is choosing the terrain. He needs a killing ground. This would typically be a valley, a narrow pass, or a clearing in the forest with limited escape routes. The terrain itself would become a weapon, funneling the enemy exactly where he wanted them. He divides his forces. The core of his army, the heavily armed legionaries, are hidden. They might be concealed in dense woods on either side of the valley, or behind a reverse slope of a hill, completely invisible to anyone approaching. These men are the hammer. Then he positions his auxiliary troops. These were often cavalry units, like Gallic or Numidian horsemen, known for their speed and skirmishing ability. They would be hidden further away, tasked with cutting off the enemy's retreat. They are the anvil. Finally, a small visible force is placed near the village. This might be a handful of legionaries or local militia, whose job is to engage the raiders and then perform a feigned retreat, a tactic the Romans had perfected. Their role is crucial, to draw the enemy deeper and deeper into the trap. As Brennus and his warriors emerge from the forest, everything looks exactly as their scouts described. The village is quiet. They see a few guards who, upon spotting the massive warband, panic and make a show of resistance before turning and fleeing. This is the trigger. Seeing the Romans run, Brennus's men let out a triumphant roar. Their bloodlust takes over. All tactical discipline dissolves as they charge forward, consumed by the thought of the loot and the glory that awaits. They chase the fleeing soldiers, deeper into the valley, further away from the safety of the forest. They are so focused on the chase that they fail to notice the silence of the woods around them. They don't see the concealed legionaries gripping their pila, their shields locked, waiting for the signal. The trap is sprung. A single horn blast echoes through the valley. It's a sound that freezes the blood of the charging barbarians. Suddenly, from the trees on both sides, the hills erupt with motion. Thousands of Roman soldiers appear as if from nowhere. The sun glints off their helmets and shields. Before the raiders can even process what is happening, a devastating volley of pila-heavy Roman javelins rains down upon them. Each pilum is designed to punch through a shield and bend on impact, making it impossible to pull out and throw back. Shields become useless, heavy encumbrances. The barbarian charge grinds to a halt in a wave of chaos and confusion. Before they can recover, the sound of another horn signals the next phase. With a deafening roar of Rama Invicta, the legionaries draw their gladi, their short, brutally effective stabbing swords, and charge downhill. The tightly packed Roman maniples hit the disordered barbarian mob like a tidal wave. The Romans fight as a cohesive unit. The man in front stabs, protected by the shields of the men beside and behind him. When he tires, he steps back, and a fresh soldier takes his place. It's a relentless, disciplined meat grinder. For Brennus's warriors, who are used to more individualistic, dueling styles of combat, it's a nightmare. They are packed too tightly to swing their long swords or axes effectively. The fight becomes a desperate, close-quarters struggle for survival. Just as some of the warriors at the rear of the barbarian force realize the horror of their situation and try to flee back the way they came, they hear the thunder of hooves. The Roman auxiliary cavalry, the anvil, has closed the trap. They smash into the rear of the barbarian formation, cutting off any hope of escape. Now the raiders are completely surrounded, pressed from all sides. Panic sets in. The organized warband dissolves into a terrified mob. The battle turns into a slaughter. The Roman commander, watching from a high vantage point, has controlled every moment of the engagement, from the initial lure to the final, crushing blow. What happened to Brennus? He likely died with his men, his ambition turning to ash in his mouth as he realized the true nature of Roman power. The few who might have survived would carry a terrifying story back to their tribes, a story not of Roman weakness, but of their terrifying, almost supernatural ability to appear from nowhere and annihilate their enemies. The ambush achieved more than just destroying a raiding party. It sent a powerful message across the frontier. Rome is always watching. Rome is patient. And when Rome strikes, it is decisive and utterly lethal. This psychological impact, the installation of fear and uncertainty, was just as valuable as the military victory itself. It deterred future raids and helped stabilize a volatile border for months, even years to come. This single brutal event encapsulates the Roman military doctrine. It wasn't just about superior armor or weapons. It was about superior organization, discipline, intelligence, and a cold, calculated understanding of enemy psychology. They used their enemy's strengths, their aggression, their desire for loot, their overconfidence against them. They turned a barbarian raid into Rome's greatest trap, a perfect killing machine that demonstrated exactly why Rome, for centuries, was the undisputed master of the ancient world. They didn't just win battles. They controlled the very art of war itself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Roman military strategy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the annals of history. Let us know in the comments what other historical tactics you'd like to see us cover. Until next time.